Stake War Legacy is a game. In this strategy-based game, there are many different types of units. Having a balanced team typically works the best, but what if we could only use one unit? Only the miner, used to get gold and is weak. Oh, also we're doing this on the hardest difficulty, insane. Not to mention, there are many different types of costumes in the game, each with their own buffs, dependent on which one you use. For miner, we are only allowed to use classic. There are also many different types of abilities, which we are not allowed to use any either. So, let's get into it. The first stage, the war begins, starts off pretty simply. We do start with Sword Wrath, so I will immediately have them die before pressing any other buttons. As soon as they are both dead, I start mining. I keep mining until I get 9 miners. I get specifically 9 so that way I can control one while the other 8 mine automatically. I then mine until I get 6,150 gold, which is the equivalent of 41 other miners, which will allow me to have the max party of 50. Then I go on attack. Of course, the first stage acts as a tutorial, so you can guess it was still pretty easy for my miners to handle. Stage was beaten in only 9 minutes and 30 seconds. After each stage, you were allowed to put upgrade points in, so I put them both into the miner's pickaxe. Next stage was ambush. Because we are still sort of in the tutorial era, you are forced to use a spell, which cannot be avoided. But I do wait the longest amount of time to do the instructions in order to get the most amount of gold between the things. After getting annihilated by the Spiritans, I attempt to dodge and lure them around, so that way they won't be able to attack my base. I hoped that me and my teammate Miner would be able to do much damage, but we barely did anything. This is the difficulty of the second stage, keep in mind. I do my best to stall them out, doesn't work very well. After they go on attack, my army slowly gets destroyed. But in this stage, you just have to survive until sunset, so you don't have to kill the units. And with a perfectly timed victory, I moved on to the next stage. Sword Wrath, similar to the first stage, doesn't go on attack, so I didn't have much to worry about. As the last stage in the tutorial era, so I was forced to make an archer. Against my own will, I had to attack the Sword Wrath to progress. So, resiliently, I still did it, and then immediately had my archer die. What I'm doing here is intentionally attacking the Sword Wrath in a spot where it can't attack me, so that way it will never have too many units. That odd movement was going on, I was getting the 6,150 gold to be able to get all the rest of the units, and then went on attack. This victory was relatively easy, but no more tutorial stages. Next was Spiriton, which was, oh boy, A doozy, alright. Going on attack with just 2 Spiritons was quickly able to defeat any sort of defense I could have ever possibly had. Just had to hope my second attempt did better, which it did. I stayed at the front, stalling for a bit. As it was going on attack, I made sure to keep it in a loop so that the units would never progress going forward, and they would always just try to go after me, which would allow my miners to get a lot more gold. I did this for quite a bit until I felt confident enough to go on the attack. I'm gonna be honest here, my miners did surprisingly well. They did eventually get outnumbered, and I had to stall for a bit longer. 25 units later, I went on the attack. The process of going on attack, defending, going on attack again, proceeded to continue. Everything was fine until I realized something. I was starting to run out of gold. Not a good sign. So, I knew it was my final time to strike. It worked out perfectly, except for the reinforcements. See, that allows them to get a bunch of units from their army just out of nowhere. That was not going to be good against my few miners. I really wanted to keep going, but I sort of realized it was a bit too late for that. To be fair, the entirety of my next attempt also went very badly. This stage was harder than all the previous combined. That black box in the corner is me watching a video, because I only had one idea left for a strategy, and that was to keep them stalled right there, so my castle archers would slowly deal damage. While that was going on, they would be slowly losing gold. And so, using the inverse strategy that killed me the first attempt, I was able to use against them. And let's just say, it worked pretty well. Only a few bit more stalling left, and they would pretty much have nothing left to use. While I had a lot of units, and a lot of gold. thing left, the reinforcements. And I had to really hope all my units would be enough. I then start walking behind the units. You see, that way I can either do backstab damage or let my other allies do the backstab damage. Either way, it would be doing double damage. So, I'll take what I can get. All in all, it ended in my favor, and all the units were dead, except for that one Spiriton. While my miners were pretty much just keeping the Spiritons away, I was very slowly chipping away at the tower. I was a bit worried, but I just had to hope my miners were going to be enough. If you thought this stage was hard, you're in for a surprise, because I'd rather do this stage 10 times than one of the future stages once. Even just the next stage took a few attempts. In this stage, Ambush, you have to deal with 50 units going all on attack at the same time. As you can see by the first attempt, this did not go well. While I show my next failed attempt, look at this dumb animation I found. They hit the like button, and then the subscribe button, and then it turns red. That's not how it works. It turns gray after you hit it. And you can do a little test to prove it. I know that joke was really bad, but please, subscribe. Thanks. Third attempt also resulted in a failure. Turns out the solution to all my problems, though, was my voice. By saying the words show grid out loud, it shows a grid on my phone with voice commands. Then I'm able to say a number like 1, and it would shrink the box down to there. Say another number, such as 1 again, shrink the box again. Then you say 3, shrink the box to just the third one. Saying one last number would then have it click in that one spot. And by repeating saying that one number, it would repeatedly click there. By having it repeatedly click there, I could focus more on the movement of my character and therefore get slightly more gold than otherwise. My first attempt with this method, though, still failed. My second attempt, though, was a lot better. All I had to do was just say double tap instead, and that makes it so it'll click at twice the rate, which made it a lot easier. The last change I did was doing the same thing that I did with the Spiritons and attempt to get more backstab damage. That little boost maybe would help a lot. After my player-controlled miner died, it was down to the wire. After that quite close call, I barely succeeded in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Wizards on their own are really easy. I did fail my first attempt though, so I tried again. This stage still has nothing much to talk about. Next stage was not going to be quite easy though, considering the fact that they went on attack with just 2 sword rats and 2 archers. The only good news I can mention is that they were weak enough to die to my castle archers quite quickly. I tried to go on attack, but it still didn't end up going very well. After a few of those failed attack attempts, I shot out one that succeeded, and took out most of the main units. I waited a bit to get a lot of gold. After that was done though, I went on the attack, because I knew my units were going to be enough to deal with the reinforcements. This next stage though was a lot harder. As you can see, I'm already playing 2 attempts at the same time. But this isn't even the start. Two, not your style? What about 4? That's right, this stage took me more than 6 attempts. One more quick loss later, and a couple of bad starts, I eventually got this. started off with some circling around Spiritans, so that way my castle archers would do a lot of damage. I went on attack with what I had, but as you can see, what I had was not very much. Still ended up working though. I did even more circling around, this time at their base though. But due to the sheer speed in which they're able to get Spiritans, I had to retreat back to my own base and stall them out for a bit longer before I went on attack with the units I had. I didn't end up getting much from that fight, but I'll take what I can get. This was the first time it actually looked like I had a chance to win, so I went on the attack. My assumption, though, was wrong, and their quick gang of Spiritans was able to beat me. After a bit more stalling, I had pretty much 50 units again, so I went on the attack again. Hopefully this time would be different. Despite them having a few Spiritans, they were all at low HP, which meant I had done it. Except for the reinforcements. Let's hope that goes well. In order to prepare more for it, I made sure to mine all of the gold in the area, that way all of the miners would be going after the enemies instead of the gold. Maybe not all of the gold. I also had my units go into defense, that way they would heal up. After all that was done, I felt confident enough to go on the attack again. power in numbers, so I made sure my units were as grouped up as possible by spamming defense and attack, and I made it look like they were dancing. Reinforcements came in, no more time for fun. Let's see if I won. After so much of my time spent on just this stage, the tower was finally knocked down.
Give me a chance. See, you're all mixed up because the judge is dancing. Well, tell me some more. I'm a suck egg noodle. Well, put down that horn. We'll have dancing school.
The next two stages weren't going to be hard. You see, giants in this game attack so slowly that it's really easy to dodge their attacks. Not to mention that you can't attack while this is going on because miners attack kind of quickly. So, despite being the biggest unit and the strongest, they are really easy to beat. For the sake of time, here's both the giant stages at the same time. Oh yeah, and for entertainment purposes, because this is kind of boring, take a skeleton.
But I don't think we should. A spooky, scary skeleton shouts startling, shrilly screams. They'll sneak from their sarcophagus and just won't leave you be. Spirit supernatural, or shy, what's all the fuss? The bags of bones seem so unsafe, it's semi-serious. Spooky, scary skeletons are silly all the same. Smile and scrabble slowly by and drive you so insane. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul and seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons are silly all the same. Smile and scrabble slowly by and drive you so.
Those stages were a good break, but the next one, oh eye cells. Let me give you a demonstration of how strong these guys are. First off, I got a Spiriton that quickly. Absurd. And, oh yeah, they do 57 damage, about half my HP. Here's attempts 1 and 3. It wasn't until attempt 6 that anything different happened.
Of all the boys I've known, and I've known some, until I first met you I was lonesome, and when you came inside, dear, my heart grew.
I mine as much as I can before they eventually go on attack. I then stall them out as best as I can.
And so I've racked my brain hoping to explain all the things that you did to me. Me, Mr. Shane, please let me explain. Me, Mr. Shane, means you're grand.
If you've been paying attention to the units it's using, you can tell that this stage is my worst nightmare, because it uses a balanced team instead of just one unit or 2 units. So, this was going to be the hardest stage yet. After a bit more stalling, I was about to have an epic duel with a miner, and then a random sword wrath had to ruin my fun, and do an absurd 150 damage.
Come here, Mr. Shane. Please let me explain. Come here, Mr. Shane. Means you're grand. Come here, Mr. Shane. Again, I'll explain. It means you're the best.
In the moment, this stage, it felt like it took forever. And looking back on it, it did take forever. My golly gee, there was just so many units as a constant stream of them came and attacked. But after all that time, I was able to go on an attack and succeed somehow. I made sure to mine literally all of the gold this time because I wanted to make sure that I would win.
Come here, Mr. Shane. So kiss me, kiss me, kiss me. I say that you will understand.
And finally, I won an attack. Surely with all 50 units, it can't be that hard, right? Alright, I'll spoil you a surprise. I lost. Because when you see the reinforcements, you'll know why. It's absolutely absurd. This was not going to be doable with my original idea, at the very least. Because there are just no way that I can get through all of that HP. Only 50 miners, even using the castle archulets. So, I eventually, of course, lost. But I didn't have to break a rule, because my rule was only using classic miner costume. So I could use a different costume for the statue. I tried it with the gold. Here's attempts 9 and 10. Ten lasted a little longer, but I think you can guess what happened after the reinforcements came in. I thought switching to a fire statue might help, but it didn't. As you can tell by the sad music, I was not even getting close. I mean, every attempt felt like I was hitting a brick wall. Even attempt 15, which lasted a bit longer, still, of course, it ended in a failure. For attempt 16, I did something I regret, and that was to use a spell. And on my winning attempt, I didn't use a spell, but I think it's important to show this attempt, for a reason you'll see very, very shortly. That's right, the reinforcements fell. I didn't quite win, but it gave me hope. No more abilities and no more giving up. Even though I failed my next few attempts, I was not even worried a bit. I was going to keep going until I won, even if it took me a year. Luckily though, it didn't, because on attempt 21, things changed. After a normal start into normal stalling, as you've probably seen a few times before, of course used the fire statue since anything else didn't seem to be any useful. But after an oddly good start, I was getting a bit, nervous already because I'd never started this well. Even my first random offense blew through way too many units than normal, and honestly, I was starting to get way too much units, At this point, I would be at like 15 or something, and I was at 30. Because of the extra units I had stockpiled up, I was able to go on offense again really early, which allowed me to, absolutely destroy anything they could have possibly had. Meaning I just had to wait until all the gold was mine, pretty much. I sent my units into full defense to heal up and eventually went on attack. Let's hope I win this. I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not sure what I was doing at almost any point, but I do know that I tried to stay forward for a bit and then try to keep them back in my area. I tried to keep them forward in their area, that way I would have more time to stall for some reason. Not sure what my brain was thinking, but eventually I went to my area, and I just did my best to stall them out before I eventually died, and sent my units out on attack to see if they could do anything. I think it was to distract the giant to not attack my statue. Still attacked it quite a bit, but it eventually worked, and I was flabbergasted. Since it only had 2 units left, I was of course gonna win, but I was still so, mouth agape because I didn't think it was gonna be possible, but I eventually was able to do it. And just like that, it was done. So no more giving up. This is it, the final boss. I had no worries. I knew I was going to do it, no matter how many attempts it took. I was so fired up, it only took me 6 attempts to be able to get a winning one. It was relatively the same as Ice Hills, just having to play a bit more risky, due to the fact that whenever you damaged you would then take fire damage. But besides that, it was relatively the same. So I won attack for the final time, and absolutely tore through the few units they had left, and just had to beat the tower. And after a grueling amount of time, I had eventually mined all the gold, and then I just had to do the reinforcements. Alright, just the final bit. But wait, these reinforcements are easier than the iCells one. But there's a reason for that, and it doesn't mean that this stage was easy. I had to pretty much wait for almost half of my units to spawn, but after that grueling amount of time, it was time for the true final boss. The biggest, beefy of them all. Just kidding, there's an even bigger one. But, it is a giant, so giant stalling strats work on, yes, even the final boss of the game. And just like that, I had done it after way too long. I was eventually able to take down the final sliver of health the giant had and beat the game using only miners. Oh wait, never mind, that's the Spiriton. Looks like I lost. Better luck next time. Have a good day. I'm just kidding. I, of course, beat the stage like normal. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. In the background, you're going to see what it would be like if I did iCells on normal mode with Voltic miners. Just showing how broken that they are. Anyway, this challenge took a really long time, and I'm pretty sure some people on the Discord were saying that it was impossible. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've spent way too long on this game, learning, stalling strats and whatever. But I wanted to share me beating this stage finally. I wouldn't have shared it if I didn't beat iCells the way I did, but, that stage felt so rewarding, I had to, post it. And look at how disgustingly easy it is with Voltic. If this video gets 10 likes, I'll do the extra stages, and if it gets 20 likes, I'll do this for the new game in the series.